Welcome to our first edition of Turf Talk. It's our new magazine program, and this show is brought to you live from the Taj Hotel here in the centre of Cape Town. What a fantastic venue. We're here for high tea, and we're going to be taking you through some industry news as well as Breeding to Win, which forms a part of the show a little bit later on. But let's go straight into one of the major events of the year, and that was the Empress Palace Equus Awards, a fantastic event held out. Well done to all concerned, the RA, Phumelela, Gold Circle, and everybody who contributed to a magnificent evening. Andrew Bond was there to tell us more.
From an international perspective, the Equus Awards are equivalent to the Eclipse Awards, which take place in the United States of America, or the Cartier Awards, which are the premier awards for horse racing achievement in the European jurisdiction. It's also an opportunity to get together with old friends, especially if they come from Kimberley, and also fellow colleagues that you don't see too frequently in a social capacity. Nice to see Felix having a chat with the former chairman of the South African Jockeys Association, Tex Lerena, as the champion apprentice arrives on the scene with Alesh and his team. Umpo greeting Angie Basil, and then the coolest dude on the block, Dr. Benny van der Merwe, Jill Dreyer, Susan Rowett, chairman of the TBA, Hugo Hutton and Glenn Kotson. And let's not forget Mike Woodstock. Bernie and Roxy arrive, and then there's Candice and Matthew. CTS COO, Adrian Todd, and Logan and Julie Alexander now having found out exactly where they're sitting. Scott brothers Robin Scott and Dr. Manfred Rover are the last to arrive as Richard Koch, the head of the beautiful orchestra which will serenade us into the night, prepares for the evening. And now we chat to the Chief Operating Officer of Empress Palace, Bob Urim, to get his take on this wonderful evening.
Yeah, and I thought it was a great night. I thought it was very good. As you said, there were a lot of people who broke records. Strigo with his 5,000th winner. What a week and a build-up that was. I was keeping a close eye on it on TV as well, and I was very happy that he rode the winner that he did on the day, and it just escalated the thing to another level. And I watched all his interviews after that, and it's an amazing achievement. Huh?
Wasn't that incredible that he should ride his 5,000 winner for a man who put so much money into the game, and a special lady in Ingrid Jooste?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And I thought what was very good about it was the build-up that was given, coming up to his 5,000th winner. Normally there's not that much hype around it in the horse racing, but I saw that it actually made the back pages of all the sports newspapers and stuff like that. Citizen, Star, Beale, everything. So that was very good that the whole country took an interest in his 5,000th winner. It was great. Huh?
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. In his acceptance speech, he paid tribute to his agent Barry, who kept on bringing his attention to the fact that he was getting close to the 5,000 mark, and in fact it was Anand Singh who made an impassionate plea to Teletrack to really give it the exposure, and I think he succeeded in all accounts.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. It was great. And then the interviews that he did after, I saw one of your interviews. I think he did it at Cape Town Airport or something.
Yeah, indeed.
It was nice, and he was emotional about it, and so he should have been.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's a huge achievement. I mean, even if you look in the United States, Europe, it isn't very often a jockey rides 5,000 winners.
And that brings us to the next record.
Gavin did very well, but he was all over the place. He was, every time you looked, he was in PE or Durban or Joburg, so he put the graft in, so, all the best to him. And we actually had him here last week. His cousin, as you know, is a boxer,
yes.
Kevin Lerena.
He was there.
And Kevin won a national championship here at Empress Palace last week. So it was a nice family double, and Gavin got into the ring with Kevin, and Gavin champion jockey, Kevin champion boxer. So it was a great family double for the Lerena family. So well done to them.
The interesting thing about Gavin's title is that he wasn't accepted in the academy in the first instance due to the fact that he had these very long legs and these very big feet, and it was his burning ambition to follow in his father's footsteps, and it just shows what incredible commitment he really has.
Yeah, I think it's all about determination and a will to succeed. If you've got the determination and the will to succeed and get, I'm going to say you get it over the finishing line, which is very true in his case, yeah. But that determination and will to succeed and get the job done, I mean, for me, it's like, yeah, you want to get something done, you've got to put a lot of graft in to get the thing done, but eventually you'll get it over the line, and I think Gavin's got the same mentality,
I think everybody loves a champion, but Gavin to me is quite unique in that he is probably one of the most popular jockeys around because of this sort of laissez-faire kind of cool cat attitude that he's got. Yeah, no, he's on the night of the boxing here. I mean, his cousin Kevin. I think Kevin is 23, and I mean they could have been brothers. I think Gavin spent the whole night with him in his dressing room before the fight started, and then walked out with him and give him all the inspiration, all the encouragement, So a really nice family affair and a nice family double. Both of them South African champions within the same week. So well done to them both. And what about our friend Sean Terry, a young man with an incredibly bright future? Yeah. He doesn't miss a trick. His acceptance speech was very moving as well.
Oh no, it was wonderful. And well done to Sean. He's been hammering away at it for a lot of years now. And Sean's got a very good team behind him. I know Mark, his brother, and all that, and all the other guys in the stable. And it's, to have successful centres in Durban and Johannesburg and keep an eye on them both and, make sure everything's running smoothly from a helicopter point of view. It's back and forward all of the time, a lot of travelling. I do a lot of travelling, so I know what it's like going back and forward all of the time. But, yeah, I mean, it's good management skills as well, and obviously choosing the right places for the horses to go. And, of course, he's got Chris van der Kerk behind him, which is a big thing, and Chris is a very inspirational guy as well. So no, excellent, well done. They deserve it too. Certainly
one of the nicest guys in racing, Sean absolutely. Terry, and of course Chris van der Kerk to back him up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they're always the last people to leave a function. We have a function. So,
drink you out of Johnny Walker Black for good.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, no, they let their hair down once a year, so that's good. Yeah.
And then of course I'd like to just touch before we finish on John Costa, because it was an incredibly emotional evening for him, both with Clava Flay winning their second title and of course with Captain Al becoming the champion stallion. I mean, it's a lifelong commitment and one of the nicest men that racing has ever given breath.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that some people fail to see is the work that's put in behind the scenes. And I think John was flying to Dublin today with Adrian Todd, and they were going to look at mares to Colmore. John comes up here, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, and it's always for work, so it's always the behind the scenes stuff that makes people successful, And I think a lot of the hard graft is what nobody sees, but it looks like probably looks like a pleasure from the outside looking in. Beautiful farm like Clava Flay, beautiful mountains, green grass, nice horses. But there's a lot of hard work there, and they do it very well. So good luck to John. Yeah, like you say, he's a nice guy, and one of nicer guy you couldn't wish to meet. Very humble, very approachable, and lovely guy to sit and have a chat with for half an hour. Yeah.
Bob, I say this year in, year out, but it feels like family. I think it is a real big extended family to a certain extent, but from the industry, once again, a huge debt of gratitude and thanks to you and your staff for providing us with such a beautiful venue and such a magnificent partner in this business.
No, thanks very much. We appreciate that, and I think a big thank you as well to the to Larry and his team, to Merle and Penny, for making last night so successful as well. It was we've already had some good feedback this morning, and a few people missed a few lifts to different places and stuff like that. So it looks like it was a great night and everybody enjoyed it. So we're happy with that.
Well, as you can see, a fantastic evening had by all. Congratulations to all the winners, and certainly some of them were really, really impressive in terms of their achievement. Sean Terry, what an evening he had. Some 20-odd million earned in stakes prize money, a record for himself, and Julie Alexander managed to catch up with our champion trainer.
A warm welcome to Sean Terry, who's still beaming from ear to ear after winning the South African Champion Trainers Award. And of course, a great season that you had. Sean, congratulations.
Yes, Jules, it is fantastic. Obviously, we looked good a few seasons previously and didn't quite do the job. And we were fortunate enough to have the horses this season. I touched on my Magnificent Seven, and obviously 7 3-year-olds, each earning over R1 million in stakes, 12 million rand combined. I mean, that sets you up for a very nice season. Fortunately, only one of them has gone to stud, Tamani, so we'll have the 6 of them next season. But obviously, without my staff, a massive effort. It was about just thanking everybody that had contributed last night, and obviously to my owners.
Owners are the backbone of any stable.
Sure, I mean, without the horses, you can plan what you like. I think it should be quite encouraging for a lot of people out there that 7 horses earn such a lot of money, because they weren't very expensive horses, and at the same time, although I do have a very big string, it's amazing that such a small number could achieve so much. So you don't necessarily have to have 150 horses to have a big season.
Well, talking about the Magnificent Seven, Sean, and how much they earned. In fact, you earned the most stakes won by any trainer in South Africa.
Yes, well they earned half the stakes, and it sets you up for a decent time. Obviously, the 3-year-old races is where the money is, and French Navy won 2 big ones, obviously earning 3.5 million. Siren's Call herself winning a big chunk of stakes. I suppose very unlucky not to round off the Triple Crown. There was that incident at the start that you can never really get out of your head. You do know that it probably did make the difference, but having said that, you've got to get your head past the post, and there's no remarks column. So the 2 of them earned 6 million, and the others were pretty consistent.
Well, what's nice about your runners from last season, Sean, is that the majority of them are all 3-year-olds, and they look to be progressive.
Yes, I think just going through the boys, French Navy, Legal Eagle, Zambezi River, they certainly should improve and furnish at 4. It's not like any one of them were precocious at 2. They did start very late in the season and got better and better. Carry On Alice was a very good juvenile, obviously, but she improved, and her speed sort of improved as well. So whereas at the end of her 2-year-old career, we were still pretty confident she would get the mile, she's proven that she hasn't got it, and let's focus on the sprints. I think it might be there for the taking. Horse like Trophy Wife, obviously very progressive, and Siren's Call is going to be exciting.
Let's go back to the beginning. What made you become a trainer?
Jules, early on when I was at school and finishing school, it sounded like a good idea. I liked being around horses, and obviously spent a few weekends going on outrides, paying your 20 Rand at the Stirrups Club and going to rides for half an hour. But that was really all the experience that I had, and it was later on when 1 or 2 business ventures had failed and I needed the gap year. I just said, let me go and work outdoors with horses for a little while, and I didn't really have a firm plan to stay. It was just maybe a year outdoors, as you say, with horses, and the majestic animals that they are, they can bring out the best in you, and I've done just that.
Then it started to grow, and the bug bit.
Yeah, the bug bit. Obviously, Mark was very passionate, and I was very fortunate to have Mark to give me that start. Otherwise, I may not have got going. And then obviously, for Chris to pick up the baton at the right time, very, very important part of my career. Obviously, we all know those red and blue silks, and the many victories we've had together, and the big successes, but it had to start somewhere. And I think probably a turning point in my career was I was very fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with Michael de Kock from probably 2004 to about 2010. Every season I went down to Durban, I was able to stay with him for a few months, and I had a few runners all over the world, courtesy of Mark making it possible for me. And for those times, I think the education was invaluable, the experience was invaluable. Mark is an absolute legend. I mean, to me, he's the undisputed champion. He's the world champion, and you know, I feel I got a Harvard degree just spending time with him.
Alistair was your first Grade 1 winner, and it was from there that your career took off.
You know, we started off well, I must be honest. Even with the few horses that we had, I won the Fillies Guineas in my first season. Sorovov won a feature. We were knocking at the door a few times, but you know, the Group 1s, we weren't really in that league. We didn't have that quality. And Alistair, I always felt was a top horse. I always felt he was the right horse for the Met. As a 4-year-old, when I nominated him, the industry probably thought I was nuts, but it took him another year to get there. And yeah, he just thrived in Cape Town. It was actually a revelation to see and work out how horses can change gears when you change their surroundings.
What has been the highlight of your career so far?
Sure, there've been some nice wins. Obviously, the 2 Julys are big. The Met was massive. It was my first major. Having National Colour and Mythical Flight, whew, two speed merchants like that. I mean, you really hear about all these other speedsters of late, but they forget who holds the records. I think National Colour wasn't far behind Mythical Flight's record, yet she ran the computer form in soft going, where Mythical Flight, I think, ran under 55. Yeah, they were phenomenal, and obviously working with horses like Wendy Wood, Fort Beluga, Pomodoro, you know, he was probably, as well as he did, one of the unluckiest racehorses not to achieve another few Group 1s because he was that talented.
Every trainer says it's tough getting to the top, but it's even harder to stay there. What are your goals for the new season?
Jules, you know, I think as a trainer, you cannot put yourself under pressure to try and win a title, because you've got to have your horses going at the right time. You can't try push and force, because believe you me, you'll finish out of the top 10, never mind win the title. So you've got to just trust your way of doing things and put your horses in the right place, in the right races, and if they start pulling a few big ones off and you're in the shake-up, well, that's fantastic. You've got to just stay focused and hope you can finish it off. But really just to be competitive, to handle each horse's career in the best way that I can, and to make sure that I don't have any underachievers. I mean, it's all very well starting the season off with the rockets and they don't deliver the goods. You sort of feel that you may have failed, and that's my objective, is to make sure that we can handle each horse as an individual and take them through their career as they deserve. And as I said many times, look after their career, they'll look after yours.
Well, after coming so close a few years back, you've got to take hats off to jockey Gavin Lerena. He fought hard. He amassed 42 winners in one calendar month. Now, that's a record in its own right. And he was crowned South Africa's champion jockey. Once again, Julie was there to catch up with him to get his thoughts.
Thanks, Grant, and thanks, Gavin, for having us in your home in Bushwillow Park.
Thank you. It's lovely to be on the show, and obviously it's a new program and it's great to be one of the first on.
Now that the season has come to an end and the struggles, the hard work, the wasting, the aggravation, and even the pressure of it has now dissipated, how does it feel to be South Africa's champion jockey?
Jules, it's a dream come true. I've always dreamt it, and you know, it was a long road, a hard road, and you know, it's just been fantastic. The support was amazing, and to be crowned champion, it's a true blessing, and I'm just very pleased.
From an outsider looking into a jockey's life, how much does it take out of you to go for a championship?
Jules, it was very tough. You know, obviously I lost the championship a couple of years ago, and I doubted myself for a while. So, you know, mentally, you know, 6 months before the championship started, I was really sucking myself up, and you know, I had my goals, and I set goals for every month, but it does take a huge toll mentally and physically on the body, and you know, just glad we got through it. Obviously we had our aches and pains, but we managed to get through.
Riding every day isn't easy, but what would be the highlight of your season?
The highlight certainly was, I would say, JMB Met Day, Urtejal and Kingston Mines. I think they are two wonderful group wins, and obviously Champions Day in Joburg was also a great day for me. I had a group double, and yeah, I think another high would be, you know, my first meeting in Kimberley. I was delayed 2.5 hours on the flight, and you know, I was ready to get off the plane. I was so aggravated, and you know, I landed on Kimberley soil, and I heard Samanga already had 2 winners, so I wasn't very happy. When I got to races, my first ride was scratched, and Bumi rode another winner, so I was 3 down on the day. And I was just, you know, kicking myself and hating myself at that stage, and Boom managed to notch up 4 quick ones, so I think that was definitely my highlight.
It was a good duel between you and Samanga Khumalo, our former South African champion jockey. At what stage of the season did you know you had the championship wrapped up?
Jules, I never really felt like it. You know, obviously with about 10 days to go, I felt that I had it in the bag, but you know, it never really hit home. And only on the last day when I went on walking on air and I got back to the jockey room and there was 1 day left and Samanga wasn't riding the next day, that it hit home, and I said I got it in the bag, and it was just a great feeling.
During the season, you donated 500 Rand to the Highveld Horse Care Unit for every winner you had. How did that initiative come about?
You know, I used to play in all the horse trust golf days and all of that, and obviously I didn't have the time. So, you know, it was a thought that came together, and it worked out quite nicely. And you know, if it wasn't for the horses, none of us would be here, and they do really need our help. I just wish it kicked off a bit better than it did. There were obviously John Freeman and some others that came on board, but I think it was a good initiative, and I just hope we could grow it in the future.
Gavin, from what age did you know you wanted to be a jockey?
Jules, from when I can remember, you know, from a toddler, I always used to look up at my father, and he was my hero. And he used to slap his boots on wherever I could in his skull cap and walk around the house and ride my little yellow rocking horse. So, no, I never ever wanted to be anything else but a jockey. So it's really a dream come true.
How was the path you took different to the path other apprentices had?
I got knocked back several times from the academy, and I can't say the road was much different, but I was very hungry for it, and you know, I was adamant that I was going to become a jockey. And in Standard 8, you know, my parents gave me the opportunity to go to the academy as an equestrian and hopefully fulfill my dreams as a work rider overseas in Hong Kong or somewhere. And when I arrived at the academy that year, I told my parents I'm going to become a jockey, and you know, they cried the whole way home. And it was very hard. You know, I used to ride work in the mornings and muck up my boxes. I used to muck up my boxes first and then go ride work afterwards, because I wasn't allowed to mingle with apprentices, and so it was very tough for about 6 months. But then Patrick Salvage became the new headmaster of the academy, and he knew it was just a dream of mine to become a jockey, and thank God for him. He gave me the opportunity. He said, you know, enjoy it while you can until the weight gets a better of you. If you can have 2-3 years of living your dream, he's happy to do that for me. And you know, 12 years later, here we are.
Gavin, you've always had a lot of support from your family. Now that you're a daddy, how's that changed your career?
My wife's Vicky, she's amazing. You know, she understands the game. and she lets me be. You know, sometimes I get in my moods and just keep myself in a bubble, and she understands that. But you know, Ashton's really been a blessing to my life. You know, I think I've always had a good head, and my parents have always kept me on the straight and narrow. But he's really brought meaning to life and changed my whole life around.
Now that the season has come to an end and the South African Championship is behind you, what have you got planned for the next few weeks?
Yeah, Jules, I've just trying to take it easy, but obviously I can't just let my body go. So I'm taking a couple of rides here and there, and you know, just enjoying the moment. Enjoying my racing, going to races with a smile, no pressure. It's very pleasant to go to races now. But you know, I'm going to take breaks here and there. I'm going to go away with the family to Mauritius or something, and you know, just enjoy it. To enjoy my family, enjoy my little boy. You know, my sister Kim and the whole family. So I'm enjoying all of them, and I'll take breaks here and there. I'll ride for a week and take 3 days off, and ride for a month and take another week off. So, you know, obviously we need to recover, but can't just switch off.
Gavin, once again, thank you very much for your time, for chatting to the Turf Talk team, and for having us in your home. We wish you all the best for the coming season.
Thank you very much, Jules, and it's wonderful to be on the show.
Champion breeders for the season were Klavervlei Stud. Now, they managed to just pip Summerhill last year. This year, a little bit more victorious in terms of the margin. And John Costa tells us more.
Well, we're sitting at the Elite Club at Doriel Grand at Emperor's Palace. With me, John Costa, breeder of Klavervlei Stud. And John, congratulations. Second time in a row, winner of the South African Champion Breeders Award. How does it feel?
It's very special, Jules. You know, last year when we stood up there for our acceptance speech, it was sort of unreal, you know, to have got to that in a very short period of time, and not expecting to carry on with it the year later. But it's happened, and we're eternally grateful for it, and yeah, it's very special.
You obviously had another great season, and fantastic to see so many group winners coming through as well this season from Klavervlei Stud.
Jules, it's the big horses that win you the big prizes, and we're very blessed. We've got some fantastic stallions at Klavervlei, none more so than Captain Al, and he certainly came to the fore for us, as did Seventh Rock. And Seventh Rock now with Seventh Plane, it's his second Group 1 winner in his second crop. So obviously all of that helps, but you're right, it was ding-dong battle with Mickey as we have been used to. And just nice to pull it off at the end.
As in every successful business, there's always a good team behind them. John, tell us about your team.
Absolutely, Jules. We, you know, starting at our directors are men of immense vision. They're extremely competitive. They want to do well on their own farm, as well as for the industry. They are genuinely industry players. And so putting the team together on the stud, it's a challenge. You have people working together that have never been together before from all different works of life. But so you grow and so you learn. And with the success, it helps to gel the team, and it helps you to strive to even be better for next year.
Great list of stallions that have now joined Klavervlei Stud, and it just seems to me that with the mares that you've got and the stallions, that Klavervlei Stud is now getting bigger and better.
Any stud will tell you, you have to upgrade your quality every year. You have to be ruthless when you cull. And we'd like to get to the place that the ones that we knock off the bottom are good enough for any number of breeders to want to breed with. And that is our vision, is to keep importing the mares, keep buying really nice fillies that do well in training and you can bring back to stud again, and keep improving the stallion band. And we're not alone. There are studs all over South Africa that are putting an enormous amount of capital into the game, and I think South African breeding is in really, really good shape when it comes to that.
On a personal note, you bred Captain L. He's now been crowned champion stallion for last season. It's the first time we've seen that award go to Captain L, because we've seen him being crowned champion 2-year-old stallion so many times before. How does that feel for you?
It's fantastic, Jules, and the man who sort of really made me realize how special it was Gary Player. And everybody knows my what I think of Gary Player. He's an absolute legend. I love the man. And he said to me one day that he would swap all his majors to be able to breed a colt that raced successfully, that went on to be a successful stallion. Never mind a champion stallion. So there was a lot of fate that was played out in it. We had to have a lot of faith. I had a very young family then, you know. We put a whole lot of things on the line, but it worked out well for us, and it worked out well for everybody that is involved in Captain L. His mum's 32 years old. She's still on the farm. She's been retired for 12 years. She has a special place in the old age home. He's got 2 sisters on the farm, and they keep producing magnificent foals for us. In fact, Shadow Dancing, a Group 1 winner, has produced Thunder Dance, who's a Group 1 winner. And Thunder Dance is back now, and she's producing. So a legacy of a family, you don't often get them. And when you do, my word, you look after them, and you just go on your knees and you say thank you every day.
And the legacy continues, because his son, Captain of All, is now standing at Klavervlei Stud.
And again, you know, to have a son of a champion sire, and I specifically put them diagonally across each other so that they can see each other in the stallion barn. But to have a son with the credentials of Captain of All to come stand alongside his father is wonderful for the stud, and I think wonderful for the country. And, you know, the world is so full of Northern Dance and Mr. Prospector blood, and the Roberta line is just slowly getting less and less, and I wouldn't say dying out. But through El Mufti and Captain L and now Captain of All, the Roberta line is revived in South Africa, and Captain of All is the only speed sire of the Roberta line at stud anywhere in the world. So that in itself was extremely special.
Lots of exciting things happening at Klavervlei at the moment, because not only have you got Captain of All joining the stallion ranks, but also the 3rd highest rated horse in the world, Variety Club.
Jules, I don't think we quite realize just what we've got. He's a South African bred horse, so he belongs to all of South Africa, and we're extremely, extremely proud of him. But when one analyzes exactly what he achieved, it is just absolutely phenomenal. Any Group 1 race in the world that year, on the times that Variety Club ran in the Hong Kong Mile and what he did in the Hong Kong Mile, he was most probably going to be the winner of a mile race anywhere in the world that year. So to have him back at stud in South Africa, available to all South Africans, it is a massive blessing, and I think it's going to be a huge boost for our stud book.
Now, John, for the new season, tell us what's new from Klavervlei Stud that we can look forward to.
Well, it's not new now, but our farm sale is growing from strength to strength. We had a wonderful sale this year. We had on the Saturday evening at Watershed that performed on the farm. Double the amount of people arrived that we'd catered for, and it was a great festival. And a lot of people have given us great reports back on that. The horses are doing very well off the farm sale. And then very, very exciting, it's a project we've been trying to get off the ground for the last 2 years, never really succeeded in it, but our pre-training centre now is up and running. We have Val Davidson there that we are extremely happy to have. She's an absolute master at her job. Typical Klavervlei fashion, she has hit the ground running. Expecting 20 or 30 horses. She's got 65 horses in pre-training now, of which 25 will be going to ready to run sales. But that's a new part of Klavervlei that I'm very, very excited about, because it now means that we are totally vertically integrated.
John, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you and the Klavervlei Stud team all the best for the new season.
Well, three very worthy champions. Congratulations, as we said earlier, to all the winners. A fantastic event held out at Emperor's Palace, and we look forward to the new season already underway. Well, Breeding to Win is going to be up next, and we've got quite a few stallion profiles to bring you, including Variety Club, Twice Over, and Warm White Knight. On the Breeding to Win section tonight, we're going to be bringing you three stallion inserts. Let's start off with the champion of South Africa. He was everybody's favourite, Variety Club. He flew the flag with distinction in both Dubai and, of course, in Hong Kong, being the first horse to win the International Mile by an international campaigner. Now, what an achievement that was. He was rated the third highest horse in the world, and he was awarded with that very prestigious award at the Longines International Awards Dinner too. He stands out at Klavervlei Stud. He's obviously owned by Mayfair Speculators, and Simon Burgess compiled this review.
For this year's Champions Mile, $12 million in stakes. And Helene Spirit with blinkers applied today. That might sharpen him up a bit in the first furlong to go forward. Of course, he was the runner-up in the race last year. Variety Club is set. And they're off and racing in the Champions Mile. Variety Club's gone deep. As Variety Club, the South African racers, 2 lengths in front. Variety Club's going great guns inside the 100 metres. Able Friend can't make any more impression than Dan Excel going to third, but what a triumph. The first international success, and Variety Club roars away to beat Able Friend. What a freakish performance by Variety Club. What a dominant performance. Able Friend's been put in his place today by the South African.
And Variety Club, he's showing his class. There's a tremor of excitement, and what a horse.
It was from day one known that this was going to be a special horse.
It's Variety Club that's taken the lead into the final 100.
He had an attitude of a great horse, you know.
He takes the glory in the Lormara Queen's Plate, does Variety Club.
The second year, the Queen's Plate was probably the high point of his local career here in South Africa.
Variety Club, what a champion. He can wear his crown with distinction. Back-to-back victories.
I think when he raced the first time in the Firebreak Stakes, he won really quite impressively, and I think that was the first time we really saw his majestic stride, the power and the ease with which he ate up at that to Peter.
Parthex trying hard in second spot, but Variety Club is holding him at bay, and Variety Club has
the most amazing thing with that first win was really to see and to then realize that maybe we have a horse that can compete in the world arena, because that's now the first test that you could expose him to.
To then crack a 15 out of 15 draw for World Cup night was just, I thought I was going to jump off the building.
Variety Club in front, 100 metres left to go. South Africa's horse, Variety Club, leads all of the way, wins the Godolphin Mile.
What happened after that was nothing short of euphoria, as the dual South African Horse of the Year returned to rapturous applause. The beaming smile of the breeder and racing manager said it all.
For me, he's a type of horse that's like a leader. You know, I think if he was in the wild, he'd be the leader of the pack. He was that type of horse.
You know, I think he's going to probably be a Captain L type of stallion.
I think his strength is the figure that the characteristic that stood out most for me. Strength of character, strength of body. He was a real man of a horse.
But Variety Club's got now a career as a stallion here in South Africa, and we're privileged to be able to place him on a farm like Klavervlei and with the people involved with that. But I'm sure he will be supported by everybody in South Africa that is in the racing game, because he's a pure South African champion.
For this year's Champions Mile, stakes, and they're off and racing in the
As the gates crashed open, he showed what has become his trademark gate speed. And coupled with a positive ride from Marcus, managed to get across and find the lead, despite several of the locals' best efforts to keep him travelling wide.
I mean, the way he got to the front obviously gave us all enormous comfort already. But then your risk is always that they've used him up too much, and then you have that fear of what's going to happen when they turn for home.
When I saw the fractions for the first 3 or 4 furlongs, I thought, geez, I don't know how we're going to keep that up.
Coming to about the 600, I was very happy with what he had done underneath me. It's very deceptive, you know, because you give the impression that you're going too fast. But when you ride a horse of this caliber, they dictate what pace they want to go.
Approaching the 800-metre mark, with Helene Spirit and Variety Club reeling off incredible fractions out in front, it was difficult to believe that such an electrifying pace could possibly be sustained. And as they turned for home, Variety Club went even wider in search of better ground.
It became very evident that he was running them into the ground, and I think the commentator in Hong Kong said it all when he called us, this is a freakish performance.
But what he actually did was just burn them off. And he kept it up the whole way. But again, a masterful ride.
The one horse tried to go with him, and you could actually see the jockey pushing his horse. And after about 200 to 300 meters, Anton said the jockey just looked at him, shook his head, and just pulled his horse back. He just couldn't go with him. They weren't going to catch him. They weren't going to catch him.
Variety Club's going great guns inside the 100 metres. Able Friend can't make any more impression. Then Dan Excel going to third, but what a triumph. The first international success. And Variety Club roars away to beat Able Friend. Dan Excel in the photo for third with Glorious Days. Then Gold Fun, followed by Blazing Speed. Maynard Lacrima from Bashawish. Then Gordon Lord Byron, real specialist.
Post-race, and again the faces told the story. An elated group of supporters, and a most deserving winner whose plans had been vindicated with justified rewards. Jockey Anton Marcus's comments summed up perfectly what all of his supporters on track and a collective country back home was thinking.
Yeah, just pure elation. Hard to put into words right now. It was pretty much self-explanatory what you saw.
Feeling confident coming to the turn?
I'm very confident, yes.
Congratulations, a great win for you and a great win for South Africa.
Thank you so much.
Twice Over, representing the John Freeman portfolio, is going to be having his first yearlings. They're going to sell at the CTS Premier Yearling Sale. And obviously he's attracted a nice book of mares his first couple of years. Let's catch up with his career as a stallion.
Just behind them, Fame and Glory under pressure. Then follows City Leader and Sariska, but it's Twice Over who hits the rising ground in front from Pipe Dreamer. Marwood Thief running home strongly, but Twice Over out in front is going to win the Champion Stakes for Henry Cecil. And it's Twice Over with a big cover shows in front of Vince against the round in second place. Behind this Mitch in the car, but it's Twice Over now on a great day for Henry Cecil. It's Twice Over going to be the 11th dual winner of the Champion Stakes. To Visit Jatar, Debussy, and then Gitano Hernando. Twice Over continues to be in front. He's about 3 clear. Shree Pruta, the outsider, in second position with Viscount Nelson, but as they race towards the line, Twice Over in front. He's idling a little bit in the closing stages, but it's a fourth corridor clip for Henry Cecil.
Twice Over on the near side is bearing down on her. Twice Over at midday. The Abdullah pair dive for the line together. And it's Twice Over's jump on international for Sir Henry Cecil and Ian Morgan in the colours of Khalid Abdullah.
I'm really, really delighted he's got a good stallion job, because if a horse ever deserved it, it's him. And I think you'll be getting progeny that are very genuine, and certainly would give you, if they're anything like him, they'll be giving you 110%.
Twice Over has the lead over Ransom Note. Dominant. Class is class. Twice Over just drifting across in front of them. That's the line. Twice Over. He's back. Twice Over wins for the 11th time.
We believe in excellence. We believe that if you're going to do something, you do it to your best ability. We aim to make Balmoral #1 in the Southern Hemisphere, not just South Africa.
So while you were away, high tea was served at the Taj Hotel. What a wonderful display. The presentation is immaculate. And while you're going to be viewing the next insert, which is Warm White Knight, I'll be tucking in. Warm White Knight is a son of Western Winter. He's a multiple winning son in terms of 2 Group 1 victories. He's had his yearlings come out and sell really well in the sales ring, and they've also performed on the racetracks.
and it's Warm White Knight who's got it clear by 3 lengths out here, moving like a winner, and Warm White Knight in a common canter.
Warm White Knight is in front. He has it by a length and a half from Cerise Cherry, who's trying to challenge him in second. Warm White Knight keeps on going, and here's another message: bring what you like. Warm White Knight by 3 lengths.
Warm White Knight is digging down, Cerise Cherry on the outside. Warm White Knight being flat to the boards out here. Warm White Knight shakes the ground beneath him. Cerise Cherry a big run in second.
Warm White Knight, 150 to go. Private Jets on the far side. Warm White Knight, they're in the closing stages. He's a length and a half ahead of Private Jet, but Warm White Knight is too good on the day.
Warm White Knight is down the inside, and outside of runners, Blue Tiger is coming home full of running. Warm White Knight has hit the front, Blue Tiger flying. Warm White Knight from Blue Tiger, Thunder Key, and hear the drums.
And Zilnox in the run down to the wire. I think Zilnox got there.
And Miss Nightingale comes back, is going to get it. Miss Nightingale won it.
And Kamal Cavert, smashing looking individual, wins it from King Stride.
Red Hot Ladies hanging tough in front. Malachite Sunbird coming late, the post looming comes in time.
Ninefold's coming back for more down the inside, and Ninefold's going to finish them off.
Well, that's a wrap from the Taj Hotel for this edition, the first edition of Turf Talk. We'll be back with our next program on the 30th of August. Julie will be involved. Thanks very much for her interviews out at Equus. We certainly enjoyed that function as well. We look forward to bringing you news from Michelle Wing and also from the Western Cape on the 30th of August. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to catching up with you then.